Raise your hand if you have ever been humiliated right in front of a big crowd. Or have you ever been so embarrassed that you start to doubt yourself? I know I have many times. Hi, my name is Kevin Macy, and I believe that humility is the ultimate key to learning and success. Failing publicly and feeling embarrassed are common occurrences in life, and it is really important to learn how to deal with these emotions. We might feel humiliated in school, sports, work, or many other activities. If we let these feelings get the best of us, we can constantly feel annoyed or frustrated, like we are bumping up on a big obstacle we can't seem to overcome. Learning anything requires practicing and making mistakes, and therefore humility is necessary for learning. For some people like me, this is a hard lesson. I used to be very hard on myself, and making a mistake in front of others caused me painful feelings of humiliation, which included frustration and anger with myself, which sometimes affected my mood and attitude. But there is a difference between painful humiliation and humility, and we can learn that difference with some practice. When we learn it, the mistakes we make when we are growing, stretching ourselves, and leveling up no longer hurt us so bad. Last year, in the 7th grade, I was struggling a little in class. I didn't quite understand the concept of solving for the X term in algebra. I began to fall behind in that chapter and was not able to fully comprehend the new sections assigned because I was too worried about knowing how to solve for X. It's never been easy for me to admit when I'm wrong or that I need help on something that is easy for others. So it's tough for me to accept that I wasn't doing well in math. After the unit test, I began to compare my grades to my classmates. What they said in class about the concept made me realize how much more they understood than me, which led me down a path of doubt and humiliation. I began to lose confidence in my ability to learn math and started to space out in class and not study as much for tests, which reflected in my assessment grade. So I asked my parents for help. They understood where I was coming from, and we worked through the concept and my frustration with myself. Eventually, after some weeks of embarrassment, I understood how to solve for X. If only instead of feeling humiliated that something was hard, I'd had the humility or humbleness to ask for help and been kinder to myself. Knowing struggling is a part of learning, I wouldn't have suffered all that time. I have also had to learn the difference between humility and humiliation on the baseball field, as my third base job began to slip. In 7th grade, I earned the starting third base job and maintained it through the entire season. Then, this past fall, 2 new kids joined my team and they were both third basemen. They challenged me for the starting position and I had to compete pretty hard for my job. In the end, we split our time at third base 3 ways and shifted around to other positions. I had to learn to be humble, to know when it's my time to play, and take advantage of it with my best effort. Then, step back and let someone else shine. Not complain about losing time on the field. So how can you be humble instead of humiliated? I find it very helpful to take a step back and look at the bigger picture of what is happening. First, I say to myself, so you made a little mistake. You're going to make countless mistakes, and you have to learn from them. Second, if you are frustrated you aren't performing at your best, admit it. For example, right now, my batting isn't as strong as I'd like it to be. I can admit that to you now, that I'm learning to be humble, but before, I would have felt humiliated and not admitted. Still, I have sometimes let this feeling of constant failure in batting get the best of me, and I began to become mad at myself and get in my head and think too much of the plate. At those times, I had to remember that it's just a game, and the more I work at it, the better I will become. Having humility means remembering failure is a part of learning, and the only real failure is giving up. Instead of sinking in humiliation, then getting angry, now I can admit to myself and to you and to my coach that I'm a little stuck. So because of this, I've been working hard with my brother in the backyard, hitting sandballs and hitting off the tee for about 30 minutes every day working on certain drills. So what can you do when you feel that way? You can try something new, seek out help. You could ask for a coach for help like I did, or go into 0 period for help in a class. In the scripture that PJ read for us, Paul talks about humility. He warns us against bragging and being proud. Instead, he says, we should be kind and gentle. For me, this has been the biggest challenge, to be kind to myself. This is very important because if we keep dwelling on our mistakes and don't look at the positive, it can be impossible to learn or succeed. When I was getting frustrated with my math, I could have gotten really mad at myself and given up. But instead, I sought out help and got it. I learned a big lesson about failure. It is the ultimate teacher, that it can be defeated with humility, kindness to myself that makes it possible to learn. I thought for many years that I would never stop feeling humiliated by mistakes and challenges, but here I am learning to overcome it. You cannot let failure get the better of you. You have to break right through it and keep trying by accepting where you are with humility and having an open mind ready to learn and grow. Learning to turn humiliation into humility has helped me in sports, in school, and allowed me to succeed. It has made me realize that it is okay to fail or make mistakes, because that is how we get better. This also affected my attitude towards others and to be more kind to them. We're going to deal with failure all of our lives, and if we can't learn to embrace it now, it'll hurt us in the future. It could be as little as missing a math problem on a test, the final wide open shot in basketball, or having one stroke too many in golf. If you beat yourself up about it, if you give in to the feelings of humiliation and frustration, you won't improve. Look at any successful businessman, any star athlete. How do you think they got there? By having the humility to work hard and learn from the failure to get even better. I can almost guarantee you that all of the athletes have failed in a big game, and the most successful businessmen or women have had ideas or products that flopped. But they also have the humility to stay in the game, learn the hard lessons, and improve. So I encourage you to embrace humility and pursue the life and the many successes ahead of you